Hey there, welcome to day 1222 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, and a little bit of back and forth. Over the last year, I decided that the world needs a little bit of back and forth, not just one or the other. And whoever said we have to do just one or the other. Today, I want to talk a little bit about can't think, what makes it possible to help you think, what do you need to think. That was the topic of our annual challenge, do one thing every day that centers us. The little journal book, do one thing every day that centers you. And not Nelson Mandela. No. It was, I need a magnifying glass, Samuel Beckett that said he can't think without his hat. Now, I don't know if he personally said that about himself or if he was talking about someone else, but the question was then posed, what I can't think without. Is there something that helps you to think, that helps you to think clearly? Maybe it's going for a walk and getting some fresh air. Maybe it is a hat. Maybe it's a magnifying glass. Maybe it's a pen and paper. I need a pen and paper to really help me map out ideas and think more clearly, to clarify my ideas. But I normally just can't think unless I've had my coffee in the morning. I have a whole lot of other morning ritual things that I do as well that help to, wake up my brain and wake up my my thinking. But that's, a topic for another day. Quite a longer topic that's more extensive, of course. So what is something that you require to think? What helps you to think better? Maybe it's some mind games. Maybe it's some physical as well as mental activity, combining the two. My friend Avril always says, before you read a book, make sure that you are engaging both sides of your brain by doing something physical and something that you have to think about simultaneously to get your brain in the right condition to read. So, been thinking about that today. Also, our idiom for supersize your business was once and for all. One of my all-time favorite sayings. I love that saying because it means let's get to the point. Let's decide this. Let's make a decision. Let's settle this now, so we don't have to be coming back and revisiting it over and over and over again. If you've ever been in one of those staff meetings in an organization or in a club or at work where there's a topic and everybody's talking about it ad nauseum and nobody is willing to really say what they think or make a decision or a choice about the situation. They just want to talk about it to death. Sounds like government making bills and things. They just want to talk about things to death and not really do any work. Well, I've worked in organizations like that where department heads just wanted to talk and pass the buck and move things around and never really take responsibility and get stuff done. Crazy. Drives me nuts. And such a waste of time and energy, right? What's the point of just gabbing and gabbing and gabbing about things if you're never going to take action? What's the point of studying and learning and reading a gazillion books if you're never going to apply anything that you learn? Not a whole lot of point to it. I guess it's fun to learn. I love learning, so it's fun for me, but if I'm never going to do anything with the information that I read, with the information that I absorb, what is the point of doing endless reading? Is it just to waste time? Well, you might as well watch mindless television then. Same effect if we're not going to do anything with the information that we absorb. So once and for all, one of my favorite all-time sayings, it's actually from the 15th century, dates back to 1489 was like the first time it was recorded, in a slightly different version, of course, but it's morphed into being once and for all. And actually, there are things that we can do and not have to repeat them. Now, not things like bathing or changing diapers or eating or brushing our teeth or going to the bathroom. All those things we have to do for the rest of our life, so you might as well just accept them and move on and not deal with having any bad feelings or hard feelings about any of those things that we have to do every day no matter what. Things like the world and the weather and stuff outside of us is going to change all the time, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. So instead of worrying about the things that we can't control and trying to be upset because we are impacted or letting them impact our emotions and our moods, we can decide the weather is the weather and I'm going to respond to it in a positive way no matter what happens. If there's a thunderstorm and a tornado, I can be mad that there's a thunderstorm or tornado, or I can just, I almost said tornado. My granddaughter always called them tornadoes. I don't know why, but it just still makes me smile. So I can be upset about that, the weather, or I can grab an umbrella, or I can decide to stay inside. I can make choices and decisions how I'm going to respond to everything. I can decide once and for all, I'm never going to have road rage again. I'm never going to get super duper stupid drunk again. I'm never going to smoke. I decided when I was young I was never going to smoke, and I have never smoked. And every once in a while I get this, oh, thank goodness I never smoked. It's a bad habit. I would have had to try to quit. And I'm glad that I never did that. It's a whole lot of things I'm glad that I never did. Never been in jail. Glad I've never been in jail. And I decided a long time ago, once and for all, I'm never going to do anything that could even remotely or possibly land me in jail, because I don't ever want to have that experience. There's experiences that we can choose that we're never going to go there. We can draw our own line in the sand based on our values, our core values, our morals, our principles, what's right for us. And there's things that we can just take off the table once and for all so that we don't even ever have to consider them. I used to think that I would never get divorced. Phew, lo and behold, once and for all, I proved myself wrong, that situations outside of my control, because whether I got divorced or not is and was at least 50% outside of my control, right? So I could make that decision, make that choice. Hey, I'm going to get married once. I'm only going to get married once, and I'm never going to get divorced. Well, I could say I'm only going to get married once. I can control that, but I can't control 100% things outside of me, which whenever we're in relationships, there's a whole lot of that that's outside of us, and we don't get to control the whole scenario. And things happen, people change, and we change our mind. Never thought I'd be divorced, but believe me, I'm a lot happier divorced than I was married. So there are things like that that we can decide once and for all, and there's other things outside of our control that we can't decide once and for all. So I like this saying. I get excited about it because it's one that has worked out a lot in my life. It's helped me to make my life work better, to make it more simple by having and knowing ourselves, by knowing what's important to us, what our core values are, what we stand for, what our priorities are. And I do this several times a year now since COVID-19. Used to do it about once a year. I would do a personal self-evaluation of all the different areas and aspects of my life. On a scale of 1 to 10, because it's very subjective, how was I feeling on the given day that I did it? Usually the last day of the year or the first day of the new year. I would just ask myself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationships, and contribution-wise, how do I think I'm doing on a scale of 1 to 10? I might go back and review, how do I think I did in the previous year, so it would be 2020, and then what do I want to accomplish in each of those areas for 2021? How am I feeling? Maybe I say I'm a 5 physically or a 4. I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to be a 4, because if I'm below average for myself and for other people, and it's a rating of myself against myself, not anyone else on the planet. But if I feel like I'm a 4 or a 5, I'm probably not feeling in tip-top shape. I probably don't have the energy I need. I probably am not getting enough sleep. But I know in order to function at the level I want to in my life, I need to be about an 8 or a 9, not a 4 or a 5. So that's going to be an area of my life that I need to address in the coming year, usually sooner rather than later. And I do that with all the areas and aspects of my life. This year, in 2021, I actually added communication and confidence as core frameworks, getting some coaching and doing some coaching in those areas. And so to enhance my skills in those areas, I added them to my core this year, and I created goals, annual goals, long-term, I call them legacy goals, and then I break those down for the year. Well, if I want that to be my long-term legacy goal with respect to communication, what do I need to do in 2021 to move me toward that? What do I need to do physically in 2021 to move me toward the physical well-being level of my life that I want? And then I break that down into, quarterly, monthly, weekly, even daily things that I do every single day to guarantee that I'm moving in the direction I want for each of the areas and aspects of my life. And I encourage you to do the same. If we don't have a framework and an overall plan and goal and vision for our life, guess what? We're just going through the motions, and whatever life throws at us, we're just responding to and reacting to. And don't get me wrong, I've had times in my life where I've done that, where I've just been surviving, doing the best I could to get by, and I wasn't very happy those times in my life. It didn't feel like I had any control or any part in my life and what I was doing. And so since, for a long time now, I've taken a lot more proactive approach, an active approach in my life, my plan, what I'm doing, what I'm saying, what I'm spending my time on, who I'm hanging out with, things that I'm choosing to do or not to. And we all have that ability, no matter what no matter what situation we think that we're in. And I spent a lot of years feeling like I didn't have any control, and I just had to go through the motions of doing what other people expected me to. And it didn't feel very good. I wasn't very happy. I don't think we're very happy if we're not, manning our own oars and directing our own ship. We have to be in charge of the direction that we want to go, and be always making progress and having some momentum and moving toward those things. I think the times when people get me, and I have took the word depression out of my vocabulary in my early 20s. I think when we feel like we're not moving in the direction of we want our life to go, that's when we get feelings like doubt, worry, fear, depression, and we get stopped in our tracks. And so we want to be doing what we can, and we always can be doing something to make sure that we're aligning how we feel with the direction we want to go. We want to all feel better, right? We always want to be doing things that make us feel good. Nobody does things because they make them feel bad. They do things because they make them feel good. But keep in mind that what feels good to each and every one of us is totally different. And so, and people will ask, well, how can a murderer think that what they're doing is okay? We have to understand is everybody on the planet, even when they're doing evil things in our mind, they think that they're doing something good because it feels right to them. Now, there's a lot of craziness in the world and mental illness and a lot of evil. And I think that the guideline's the same. I think that people do what they think is in their best interest at any given time. Only when they step back and see the circumstances from another light, from another perspective, do we realize, oh my God, that was the stupidest thing I could have said or done. So keep that in mind. And if you approach people thinking that they're always doing the best they can with what they've got at the time, you're going to approach them differently than if you're assuming they have bad intentions or good intentions or whatever else. We should never assume. It's easy to assume. I assume all the time. We all do. It's human nature, but it always really does make an ass out of both of you and me. So it's a good. I love that. ASSUME, it makes an ass out of you and me. It's a good reminder. It's a lot of things in life like that are good reminders that we shouldn't throw stones if we live in glass houses. And guess what? We all live in glass houses. All right, that's it. That's all I've got today. Working on a bunch of stuff in a reading challenge, and I am slow and behind on that due to the fact that I need to blow things up to read them or listen to them or use magnifying glasses or do whatever I can. I need to get a personal reader, somebody that'll just read to me while I'm doing things all the time. I know it's called Audible, but not a lover or acceptor of Audible 100% yet. I need to touch it. I want to highlight it. I want to underline it. I want to see it. Even though I can't see very well, I still want to see things. Visual person. All right. If I can help you anyway, hit me up. Ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow just to let you know what am I doing as I'm, sharing information, figuring out this online world, and doing things in the offline world as well. Because lots of experience in the offline world, newer to the online world, but done a lot of things, tried a lot of things. Some have worked. Some have been absolute busts to my dismay and disappointment, but that's part of life, is learning from not only the things that work out for us, but the things that don't work for us. We always learn a whole lot more from our failures and challenges than we ever learn from our successes. Ask yourself, is that true in your life? I bet you'll find out that it is. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.